You're listening to New Retirement Radio, brought to you by the team at Prout Financial Design.
Hello, I'm your host, Certified Financial Planner, Dennis Prout.
I'm Heidi Cartwright, Financial Advisor and RICP.
Advisors associated with Prout Financial Design may be either 1. Registered representatives with and securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC, and investment advisor representatives of Integrated Partners, a registered investment advisor, or 2. Solely investment advisor representatives of Integrated Partners, a registered investment advisor and not affiliated with LPL Financial. Investment advice offered through Integrated Partners, a registered investment advisor. Integrated Partners and Prout Financial Design are separate entities from LPL Financial. Dennis Prout and Nathan Prout are solely investment advisor representatives of Integrated Partners and are not affiliated with LPL Financial. The opinions voiced in this show program are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which strategies or investments may be suitable for you, consult the appropriately qualified professional before making a decision.
WTCM News Talk 580. Welcome aboard to another episode of New Retirement Radio with Prout Financial Design, starring today and every week usually, Mr. Dennis Prout. Good morning, sir.
Usually, good morning there, Ron.
You miss a few days here and there.
I do
Like
indeed.
last week you weren't
You
here.
bet. I was not. We actually, at our leadership conference thingy we do with our level 10 group, EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating Systems, I would say, just because everyone wants to know, I'm sure it's the best thing we've done in a business for our organization and for our moves forward that we could have taken. Probably have done that for 7-8 years now. And it's been phenomenal as a way to identify, discuss, and solve issues within our own business. So fantastic. Good morning, everyone. We're talking today about retirement planning, but we have some guests with us. By the way, as Ron mentioned, I am Dennis Prout, CFP CPWA. Man, what a wild world we live in, Ron. It's tempting to talk about the economy, year-end tax planning, but that's going to have to wait until next week. Wait. And it's amazing to me what's happening in the financial world in which we live. Gold at 4,000 plus an ounce. Silver, just because we were talking about it beforehand, Dawn McConnell and all of us, Laverna Witkop. Good morning, Laverna.
Good morning.
Great to have you here. A long time Ford agency representative with Medicare, the veteran of the team. Welcome, Laverna.
Thank you. I have lots of gray hair to prove it.
You betcha. So Dawn McConnell, and you've been with Ford now 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years. So it's been so awesome to sit with Laverna and just glean and try to pick everything out of her brain. So
have her mentor you.
Yes, it's been awesome.
As well as Alicia Ford over here. Good morning, Alicia Ford. One of the many Fords in Traverse City, and a good representative for them as well. Good morning.
Can you just test your mic there, Alicia? Say hello.
Hello.
See, we're not getting...
It's not quite working, is it?
Can you flip over to that chair over there, if you wouldn't mind?
Flexibility.
Yeah, thank you, Alicia. And say good morning.
Good morning.
Look at that.
There she is.
Thank you very much for making the switch.
All of them Medicare and health insurance specialists with the Ford agency, creating, in essence, a team, as we've done at Prout. A team because you're getting busier and busier, and the demand by the baby boom generation causing you all to need some cohorts there in the field.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. We I like to say that Laverna created Medicare, but
Not quite.
but Laverna started the Medicare department at Ford Insurance Agency. What was it, 27 years ago, Laverna?
Well, I've been there 27, and back, Medicare really, in my world, did not become really popular until the Medicare Part D came out. That would have been, I think it's 17, 18 years ago now. And so when I saw the Medicare Part D program come out in conjunction with Medicare A and B, and also these Advantage plans that came out and have been increasingly popular as time goes on, as we can prove that happening, then I kind of jumped on board with, wow, this makes sense to me. And I started leading the agency and the department down this path, and boy, I have no regrets.
Yeah. Yeah, so Laverna's done a great job of just being the Medicare queen of Traverse City, right? And
Yes.
and so then I came on 5 years ago, and it's been great to be able to bring in all the people who have questions about Medicare. And even now in the 5 years I've been here, the demand has continuing to grow. So it was the right time just this past year to bring on Alicia.
That's great. So Medicare, there are a lot of changes going on. Is the government shutdown having any impact on Medicare's ability to make payments or any of that, or is it just an automatic thing?
You know, we're not seeing too much issue with Medicare with the government shutdown because the Medicare laws are already put into place.
Okay.
So there's not much up for debate. It's already set. So we're not seeing any big concerns there.
So far, payment processing and all that is continuing apace, if you will.
As far as we know.
All right. Good to know. Now, if people have a question of a Medicare nature today, Ron, for at most who are over age 65 or approaching age 65, they can call or text us. And that number, if you would, please, sir.
Same number both ways. If you have a question about Medicare, call 231 area code 947-0023 or just text us that 947-0023.
Now, so how do people think about this? The reason we're having you on is enrollment. Open enrollment is happening now. What is that? When does it start and when does it end?
Well, it's actually called the annual election period in Medicare. Little technical term difference there.
Yeah.
But what I'd like to tell people is it does feel like your open enrollment time in Medicare programs, like what you would have experienced back when you were at an employer coverage or something of that nature. So every year you get an opportunity to change up your Medicare plans. Changes at this time would be, what if I want to change up my prescription drug plan if I have just a prescription drug plan within Medicare? Or what if I want to disenroll from a Medicare supplement, also known as a Medigap plan, and go into a Medicare Advantage plan? Or what if I want to change my existing Medicare Advantage plan to something else? Another company or a different plan within the company. This window of opportunity between October 15th and December 7th happens every year. And yes, we're bombarded with lots of questions this time of year.
Well, I guess so. Does anybody, most people know whether or not they're on Medigap or Medicare Advantage?
They should know very much.
Do you know that, do you experience that they really don't know which one they're on?
Do you know which one you're on, Dennis?
Yeah, I happen to because, I have attended a class or two.
Excellent.
But I think I'm a rare, not that I'm rare in that way, but honestly, I would picture some folks just saying, I don't know which one am I on.
Yeah, we get that.
Really?
Yeah. We
Yeah.
have a lot of people who say, I don't know, I signed up for something at age 65 and I just let it roll. And, those are the people that we want to talk to because, in my opinion, if you've been on the same Medicare plan for more than 2 years, it's time to get a checkup on that. This is not a plan that you want to just get in and live in because things change every single year. Benefits change, premiums change. So people who are on a Medigap policy, their premiums are just increasing and increasing every year. And that's a good reason to talk to us.
Yeah.
Some of the Advantage plans, some of the older Advantage plans started with premiums. And there's plans that are $0 premium plans that are new, robust, and, so just because
How do you get anything free?
That's a good question. We don't.
See, isn't it?
And I love
Laverna loves this question.
I love this question. So, you as a consumer have paid into the Medicare system all of your
long time.
as well as millions of other Americans. In addition, our employers pay into Medicare. Medicare is a benefit that you have paid for all of these years. So with Advantage plans, this is not true.
It's a long time.
Medigap plans, but with Advantage plans, the government is actually funding the Medicare dollars that we paid in to fund these programs. And insurance people, like what we represent, they know how to take these plans and blend them into a package that costs you nothing to add on to your Medicare.
Because in essence, Medicare is paying these insurance companies to help them control costs. Is that what's going on?
That's correct.
Okay.
And even
they're
if
not
you're
charged
on-
extra for this, by the way. Your compensation, just to put it out there, is a part of their regular premium that they charge. So you're not charging extra. It's
That's
just
exactly
whether or not they choose to have counsel or advice
Correct.
in trying to figure this game out.
Yeah.
And it is a game.
Well, and it's a game that you want to go into with your eyes wide open. One of the things that we have to do, and we didn't talk about this earlier, Dennis, but I think it's important for people to know that as agents in this business, we have to go to school every year and be recertified for this.
How much more can you learn every year? I mean, really.
Well,
right?
there's slight changes that you want to make sure that you're on
I'm
top
joking.
of. But
Yeah.
anyway, but the other thing is that if we're going to represent an insurance company, not only do we have to go to school at the government level for this process, but we also have to go to school for every carrier insurance company that we represent their products with. So it's and if we want to maintain our good standing, especially with that insurance company too. So bottom line is that we have to go to school every year so that we can then pass that knowledge on to you of what's happening with these programs.
So bottom line is you can increase often coverage, control costs by actually updating your plan. And you may be surprised at how old your plan's been. Now, a Model T will still run, perhaps.
That's right.
But why would you take it on the highway?
There you go.
Good analogy. Good
Great.
analogy.
So,
Yep.
yeah. All right.
Yeah, and the most people who are on medications, they're not on those same medications their whole life. We're adding new medications in. We're getting rid of some old medications that aren't working anymore. So we want to make sure you're on a plan that works best for your current medications too.
Now, this perhaps begs the question, what's the change in Medicare Advantage enrollment, Ron? And I know I always like to show graphs here for the listening audience. And there you have it. In 2007,
You can see it right here.
Yeah, 2007, it was about 20% of those enrolled in Medicare had an Advantage plan. Today, it's 54%.
Right.
So 2.5 times what it once was.
Mm-hmm.
So just about 54% now. So obviously there's a reason for that, and there are huge advantages. And also, how would someone contact you all there at Ford if they want to come in and see you? Because now is, what do you call it?
Annual election period.
Annual election period. Please don't confuse that with voting. But
Right.
you want to stop by Ford. How do they get in touch, and how do they get something scheduled, and how soon should they do that? Because they have from now until December 7th.
Right. I think it's better to call earlier and get on our calendars. You can do that by calling directly to the Ford Insurance Agency, 231-941-0450.
231-941-0450. And everyone there is good looking and smart, I'm told.
That's
Yes.
what I'm. Yeah. That okay. I'll take
Definitely.
it. I'll take it. Yeah.
See, there you have it.
This is why we brought on Alicia.
Now, Alicia Ford, what is the common question that you get, just because you're sitting back there, and I want to make certain that you're included in the conversation? Is there a most common question or set of questions that you receive as a part of this?
Often I'm asked if my new provider, maybe I'm going to see an eye specialist, is going to be covered. And so we are able to look up networks, and we can tell people, yep, your provider is in network, that's going to be covered for you, and we can help walk people through what their expected costs might be for those visits.
So someone might be surprised at the coverages that they have within Medicare. I know I have been. There's some continuing health options that they give to you, like memberships and that sort of thing. to stay in shape. What's that all about with the Medicare Advantage plans?
That's in the Advantage plans.
Right.
They're not in the Medigap.
That's another
plans.
reason to be in the Advantage plans.
Oh, yeah. That's why we call them Advantage plans, is because there's extra
because we're trying to stay in shape, Ron. We want to be able to bench press 350 pounds. Right?
That's correct.
I would ask Laverna, literally, can you go through the Medicare ABCs? Because we're talking Advantage. Yep. Where does that come in? So what is Medicare, Part A, Part B, et cetera?
Oh, good. Yep. Well, that's the kind of the ABC 101 of Medicare. I see that sitting right here in front of Dennis that we actually go through presentations on.
This whole presentation.
And so your Medicare A is your hospital benefits. Those cost you nothing as long as you paid 40 quarters into the Medicare system.
10 years.
Yeah, 10 years. Yep, similar to what Social Security is. And then your Medicare B, that's the amount that you pay for out of your Social Security checks or directly to the government if you're not taking Social Security yet. That's your hospital benefit.
That's the outpatient.
Yep, outpatient. Anything outside the hospital. What did I say? That's your medical benefit, Part B. Sorry. Hospital is A, medical is B. D is prescription drugs. That's the part that I mentioned earlier that came out about 17, 18 years ago. And then Medicare C is Medicare Advantage. That's where we take A plus B plus D and put it in a package called C, Medicare Advantage.
It's a geometric formula there, Ron.
My algebra teacher is proud of me right now. So anyway, but then I always put a little plus sign next to that C because there's so much more in Medicare C than what the original A, B, D of Medicare entails. So
A squared plus B squared doesn't necessarily equal C squared in this equation.
No, but let's keep it simpler than that.
Yeah. Okay.
So A is free. You don't pay for that. You turn what age? 65.
65.
You sign up. You get that. If you go to the hospital, pretty much it's covered.
Correct.
Well,
after that,
there's deductibles that you have to.
Okay, yeah.
Copays, deductibles that you have to pay if you had just original Medicare.
Right.
Correct.
So if you just had original Medicare A and B, if I boil it down to the simplest explanation of it, it's an 80-20 plan with no cap on that 20%. Okay. So it can get really pricey, and this is why we like to put either a supplemental gap plan or an Advantage plan. We want you to be on one or the other and not just on original Medicare A and B.
So it's going to take more than one formula to make this thing work in terms of health care at age 65. Now, once in a while, someone might need some forms of health care before age 65, and Medicare will kick in. When is that the case, or what kind of coverage is that?
So
under age 65,
under age
with
65,
certain disabilities?
if you to go on to Medicare, if you're disabled, you can be on Medicare. Certain disabilities.
Okay.
End-stage renal disease will qualify you to be on Medicare. So there are some exceptions to the rule of where you can be on Medicare prior to age 65.
Okay. But it's not that common.
It's not. No. It's
not
just that common.
I had a gentleman that I've been working with for years that came in my office last week, and he had I think it was both a liver and a kidney transplant. Oh, wow. And 2 years ago was put on Social Security because of disability. And this guy's in his early 60s. And 2 years later, he gets his Medicare.
Okay.
So it's a 2-year waiting period from when you apply for disability to when you go on to Medicare.
Correct.
Okay. So, man, this can be a real lifesaver.
Absolutely.
For a lot of folks.
Yes.
Especially those with disabilities. But then at age 65, for most, the cost for health care goes down significantly.
It can.
As a result of Medicare's cost containment.
Correct, yeah.
That they've done, as well as the partnership that they have with insurance companies to provide Medicare. What is it called again? See, Ron, we all thought we wouldn't have to remember anything after age 65 except our spouses and our grandkids' names. But yet now it's about Medicare. We have to remember this thing too. Medicare Advantage.
Medicare Advantage.
Yep.
That's the term.
Now you have to be proactive and sign up yourself, right? You're not going to get a letter or phone call from Medicare someday saying, "Hey, it's time for you to sign up."
Yeah. So two paths with that. If you're already drawing Social Security prior to age 65, you're automatically going to be enrolled into Medicare A and B.
When you hit 65.
When you hit 60, yeah, you'll get your Medicare card usually 3 months prior to your birth month. If you're not drawing Social Security, then yeah, it is your responsibility to contact the Social Security Department to say, hey, I want to enroll in Medicare Part A and B, even if I'm not wanting to start drawing my Social Security.
See, I know somebody that was working at 65. They had health care coverage, and they didn't do that. And now they said they have to pay a penalty if you don't do it by a certain time.
Well, there's a lot of little asterisks, right?
Okay.
Lots of depends here.
if you work for a company that has more than 20 people that they're insuring, and it's considered credible coverage, you can elect to opt out of Medicare A and B. You can do so without any penalty.
Do you have to tell them you're opting out?
No.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. If it's less than 20 people, you are required to go on to Medicare. And
that
if you
was
don't,
Jill and myself. We
That's-
had to do that.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you don't enroll into Medicare when you're first eligible, they will penalize you. And it's a lifetime penalty.
Yeah, lifetime.
So
So you want to know the ins and outs of this, and you proceed at your own peril if you don't.
Right.
I mean, it's a requirement to sit with
requirement.
your favorite agent locally who knows Medicare, and or to call Ford Agency 231-941-0450. Is that what we said?
you got it.
Beautiful. Or online. What's the online address there? FordAgency.com?
FordInsurance.net.
.net.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, Ron, I think it's time for a break. We have a question first.
A mixed bag of comments and questions we'll
Sure.
just zip through. Somebody said, well, two things. This is in Dennis's bailiwick here. Will you explain again if I need to take RMD's required minimum distributions out of my rollover IRA this year? I will be 71 next July.
No, the year in which you turn 73 now is the magic age to have to take required minimum distributions from your IRA, 403B accounts, 401k accounts if they're separate. Now, keep in mind, when you're 70 and a half, you can also do a charitable contribution direct from your IRA, a charitable gift to your favorite qualified charity 501c3 organization. That has to be direct, but you can begin giving out of your IRA if you want to use that for your, in essence, gifts to charity. Okay.
Also, someone said Blue Cross Blue Shield will be stopping my Advantage plan in December. Is that across the board? And what does that mean?
So back January 1st of 2025, Medicare overhauled their prescription drug plan, Medicare Part D. Some companies made very proactive choices because basically what that overhaul required was the insurance company to eat a lot of cost, to put it simply. Some insurance companies made very proactive moves to navigate that change back this full year of 2025.
To manage it, in essence, as
to
best they
manage
could.
it as best they could. See it for what they thought it was going to be, made the necessary changes. Other companies decided to wait it out and see how it played out. Blue Cross Blue Shield seems like that's the choice they made.
They waited.
So now they found that they need some course correction.
It was a lost leader for them.
Yes, exactly. Okay. So the course correction that they are taking going into 2026 is dropping many of their plans. It's not throughout the entire state, but we are definitely getting hit here in the north by them just simply dropping the plan. The unfortunate part is they're not crosswalking them into a new plan. They are just simply dropping them off of that coverage.
So do you have a lot of people calling you as a result saying I need a new coverage?
This is a top 5 question that's coming into our agency right now.
Wow.
My mom has this. I've had this other company, but my neighbor has this. Yeah, Dennis, you're fine.
I was thinking, no, I guess we don't have Blue Cross.
But if Blue Cross is doing that, do you think is there concern that other insurers will do the same thing to navigate the change?
Well, it depends on how they course corrected previous to this. If they didn't do the necessary course correction back this past year, it's requiring them to course correct for 2026. So Blue Cross is having to course correct in 2026. So if you or anybody in your circle are on a Blue Cross plan that is simply dropping the coverage, we can do a couple of things. We can get you into a new Blue Cross plan because there are some new offerings if that's the best fit for you, or we can explore some of the other companies that are out there and make sure that you're in a plan that's going to work in the area that you live in and meet the needs that you have.
So there are different plans depending on geography of clients. Interesting.
Correct. And
who are the major carriers? I know it's Priority Health, Blue Cross. What are the other ones?
There's in northern Michigan. Those are the two major ones. There's like 13 companies in Michigan that offer plans, and those two are the ones that work the best up here. So yes, there's other options out there, but we tend not to go there because it's not going to work best for our clientele up here in the north.
The way I like to say it is Blue Cross and Priority Health are Michigan-focused companies.
Correct.
A lot of the other companies that are out there are national carriers.
Right.
So how is a national carrier going to know what our local network is?
Right.
So we like to work with the more state
oriented
focused.
Yeah. One other thing I'd like to mention is just to kind of take off on what Dawn just said, is that, you know, having been in this business a lot of years, I've seen these course corrections over time. And just as a consumer out there, it's not the end of the world. Yes, there's another product that we can get you into to help out with that course correction. But this is just inevitable of what's going to happen anytime that the government does things like this, as far as changing up what the insurance companies need to do and how the insurance companies respond to it. And if they don't address these issues head on sometimes, this can happen where plans are eliminated like that.
So it's pretty common.
Well, I wouldn't say common. I just want to make sure you know that I've seen it before.
Right.
I mean, and it's not a common thing. So.
Okay. But it does happen.
Here's a text that says, we use Ford Insurance, great company. And my carrier called and wants to do an in-home inspection. Can you talk about that?
I've had that question a lot over the years. And here's how I would respond. Number one, you have a primary care physician, most likely, and that doctor takes probably really good care helps you take good care of your health. The reasons why I would do this is because I have found that those in-home health assessments do find things that primary care doctors don't necessarily find. I will use my own mother-in-law as a reference here, in that they did a cognitive test on her when she invited them to do the in-home health assessment, and we had no idea that she had some dementia issues going on. And what that helped my husband's family to do is to help her guide her better in a dementia issue with her primary care doctor. So that is entirely up to you. I think it's a good double check. And yes, these calls are legitimate, and I would just use your own discretion of whether or not you think that's for you.
How do you check the legitimacy of this kind of a phone call? Because
you could always call us and ask that legitimacy. You could call your carrier, Blue Cross, Priority Health, whoever it is. Is this an ongoing thing that's...
Call your agent.
Good.
Yeah.
To confirm that.
Yeah.
I would.
I always say if people are getting a call from Blue Cross or Priority and they're not sure if it's legit, number one, call us, or just call the number on the back of your insurance card.
Right.
Don't return the phone number that they left for you to call. Call the number on the back of your insurance card. They'll tell you if it's legit or not as well.
That's great.
Somebody writes, Part A, Medicare Part A, is not free. Some of us paid into it for 56 years, which Laverna did mention. That's a benefit that we've already paid for.
Yes.
But they say if you are still working part-time, get a W-2 after age 65, you're still paying into Medicare. What does that mean?
From what I understand, that is correct.
Okay, you're still...
Yep, you're still working. You're paying your taxes, wages.
One for Dennis. For an inherited IRA, Is a required minimum distribution calculated each year, or is it the same based on account balances on the year of the death?
Depends the year in which you receive the account, whether it was before the Secure Act or after the Secure Act in 2022. If you receive the IRA before then, you can base it on your own life expectancy, which is going to be much less. If you received it after that date, then you have to empty the account by the end of the 10th year after having received or inherited that account. But you can also, if you're over age 70 and a half, you can also gift that as a QCD, a qualified charitable distribution. Now, talking about having to navigate things, if you do have a question like this, feel free to call our office. We'll be happy to speak to you about that, further in-depth questions related to that. 231-947-3992. Okay.
All right. We have from, it says, I have the Priority Key Plan. I guess that's Priority Health.
Yep.
I have the Key Plan, and I spend the winter in Florida. Will I still be able to go to a doctor down there and have it be considered an in-network visit?
The key plan, the priority health plans in general will pay any Medicare provider in the United States as in-network. What I tell clients to do in this situation, though, is if you are spending your winters in Florida, as I experienced for my own self, I would recommend moving to the PPO version of the priority health plans. And here's the reason why, is because when you're out of state and you're trying to seek care, like get a second opinion, or I want to go to a specialist while I'm down in Florida, or whatever the situation is, I will say that the providers outside the state of Michigan, like the PPO acronym, which stands for Preferred Provider Organization, better than the HMO point of service, Home Health Maintenance Organization, with a point of service option that the Key Plan has. So there's your long answer for a short question. So I would recommend moving to the PPO option just for the simplicity of the providers in another state liking that acronym better than the one that the Key Plan has.
All right.
Interesting. Yes, Ron.
Another one. I received a postcard for open enrollment from Triage Prime. Never had it before. Are you familiar with anything like this? I'm 58 years old, the wife of a retired U.S. Coast Guard. Triage.
I'm not familiar with Triage Prime. I'm assuming it's something based on you've served in the military and there's some benefit, but I'm not positive what specifically Triage Prime is.
Is that something, if they made an appointment with Ford Insurance, that you guys, knowing ahead of time, would research and answer?
Absolutely.
Okay,
yeah, we welcome anybody to have those questions, because we have a lot of veterans who are on VA benefits, and so we can kind of figure out what works well with VA benefits. Just because you have the VA benefits doesn't mean we can't put you on some extra coverage as well. So it's always good just to bring in those high-level questions, and we can figure out the piece of the puzzle there.
All right. It's going to make sense. Great.
Shouldn't Blue Cross have let me know if they're going to drop Part G?
Plan G. That is the Medigap plans. That is not an Advantage plan. Okay. So the Medigap plans will stay the same. You will notice year after year that those premiums go up. And in my opinion, when the premium continues to go up, it's a good time to do a checkup to see if the math still works as far as that plan, as opposed to an Advantage plan.
Now, the Medigap plans, given the popularity of the Advantage plans, would you say generally you're going to be able to save people money and or get better coverage on the Advantage plan?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I've put together a lot of scenarios. They're not perfect scenarios, but I've put together some pretty significant scenarios of, boy, if a person was in the hospital for X amount of days, and if they had to see this many specialists, and they had to go to PT and this, that, so I've tried to create these scenarios and then go, okay, if they were on a GAP plan versus a Medicare Advantage plan, what would the cost be? 9 times out of 10, the Advantage plan is coming in at a more affordable rate. So yeah, I've spent a lot of time. I think we've all spent a lot of time looking at the different possibilities, and one size doesn't fit all. That's why they have the plans. We're not just pro Advantage plans and we hate the supplemental plans. No, we still put plenty of people on supplemental gap plans because it's the right fit for them.
Okay.
So, it's I always like to tell people you're not going to make the worst mistake of your life if you choose this over that or that over this. Let's talk about the options and make sure you feel comfortable with the option you chose. They're both really good plans.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Just having sat with you and getting educated about it has got to be a huge advantage, no pun intended, in terms of counseling people through all of this. Anyway.
Yeah.
By the way, the triage person says, sorry, it was a typo. TRICARE Prime is what they were talking
TRICARE.
about. You know that one?
So TRICARE, that's a veteran benefit.
Okay.
So yeah, there's a lot of advantages to having TRICARE, but we can also look at coupling that with an Advantage plan. I see he's 58 years old.
Yeah, it's the wife. They said the wife of a retired U.S. Coast Guard, and they got a postcard for open enrollment.
Okay.
Is that kind of early or 58?
Yeah, I don't know the enrollment periods for the VA benefits. Do you, Laverna or Alicia?
What my guess is that her being a spouse on a retired Coast Guard person, that she's on their plan as a dependent, and so therefore it's now your open enrollment period, which in general most places are on a calendar year for their annual enrollments. And so my guess is she got that postcard that, hey, you need to change up your plan. And if her spouse is over 65, he's probably on Medicare along with the TRICARE. That's kind of the picture I'm seeing in my mind right now.
Okay. All right.
Quick follow-up for you, Dennis.
You
just
bet.
for clarity,
You bet, Ron.
for the inherited IRA, someone inherited that, is the retired minimum distribution calculated each year? And they clarified they got it in 2024.
Yeah.
So if that's the case...
Yeah,
they inherited 2024.
The only other caveat to that is, was the parent already taking required minimum distributions? Were they over the age of 70 and a half or 73? If they were, you have to take the minimums, but that account does have to be emptied by the end of 2034 in that case.
All right.
So you've got some time to do that, but it does have to be emptied. All right. Now, of the common questions, you said there were about 5. Are there others that you care to cover or that people generally have about Medicare and its coverage and or the issues related to that?
Yeah, I think some of the most common questions that we get are, is my plan still good this year? That's the biggest one that we get every year is my plan still good? Well, we get you should have received, as Laverna mentioned earlier, the annual notice of coverage comes into your mailbox or your email inbox every year if you're on a Medicare Advantage plan. And it will show year 2025, here's what your coverage was. Year 2026, here's what your coverage will be. So if you're seeing a big variation of those changes, it might be a good idea to get in to see us. Again, if you've been on a plan for a long time, you're not it's almost like what is it, the frog in boiling water, right?
Yeah.
Like the changes happen year after year after year, and all of a sudden you don't realize the vast change that has happened from when you initially enrolled until where you're at now. So always a good chance to just take a look at your plan. Is it going to be the best one for next year?
Can they often just talk to you on the phone and get most of their answers?
Oh, yeah.
A lot of times, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the other biggest question I have with the Advantage plans, too, is there anything that I have to do?
Yes.
Okay. And the answer is no. Unless you get that letter that says that they're eliminating your plan this year, like as in the Blue Cross ones that we mentioned earlier. With Advantage plans, they automatically renew in the same exact plan that you have for the next year, and you're good to go.
Yeah. And same with the Medigap plans. As long as you
Yes.
continue to pay your premium, there's nothing you need to do. It just rolls over into the next year.
Right.
Okay. Well, it's not open enrollment. I keep thinking that's
Annual
Annual election.
the term.
period.
Annual election
And no, we're
period.
not voting.
Yeah, no kidding. So in terms of coverages, what are the key coverages that someone's generally going to want to make certain that this plan has for them? What do you see most often? Is there such a thing?
Well, the Medigap side of the conversation, I liken it to an a la carte menu. So you have your Medicare Part A and B, and then you're going to a la carte menu pick out your gap plan, typically a Plan G. But then you have to a la carte menu your prescription drug plan. And if you want dental, if you want vision, those are all separate policies that you're buying. So you could have up to 5 insurance cards in your wallet, all paying different premiums, right? The Advantage plan, I liken that to a combo meal. And every combo meal is dealt a little bit differently, right? So the combo meal at one restaurant's going to have maybe a Happy Meal toy in it, and the other one is going to have a fruit snack, right? Like, they're all built just a little bit differently. So that's where we like to see what's going to fit the needs most. I like to, and I think Laverna, Alicia, we all have this mentality of don't get distracted by the shiny things in your Happy Meal, right? The over-the-counter benefit cards, the gym memberships, all good benefits. But let's focus on why we're getting insurance, and it's for the medical coverage, right? If you get all these extra little things, wonderful. Use it. They're really great benefits. But let's keep it back to where we need to keep our focus of what is your medical needs.
Okay. And it can be dealt with appropriately given that they've got pre-existing conditions and that sort of thing. Right. Are any of those pre-existing conditions a concern when they're wanting to move between plans?
Not in the Advantage plans at all.
Okay.
Because you can move company to company, plan to plan every year on those plans. In the Medigap plans, yes. Those plans are only guaranteed issue when you come into Medicare or for the first time, or but those plans end up having to be medically underwritten if you try to move from plan to plan.
All right, we have to wrap up, but remember, Ford Insurance Agency right in Traverse City. You can call 941-0450 for any questions about Medicare. Prout Financial Design, of course, in Traverse City at 947-3992. Thank you all for being in today.
Thanks, Ron. Appreciate
you, Ron.
it.
Ford Insurance Agency guest speakers are not affiliated with or endorsed by LPL Financial and Prout Financial Design. This material contains only general descriptions and is not a solicitation to sell any insurance product or security, nor is it intended as any financial or tax advice. For information about specific insurance needs or situations, contact your insurance agent.